solitary confinement until President Kennedy personally interceded with Birmingham officials. 2 days later, King's brother, the Reverend A.D. King, was arrested for leading another large demonstration. Police Commissioner Bull Connor was on public record as being strongly opposed to the civil rights movement. His police met the demonstrators with a show of force rarely seen in America. Police dogs attacked unarmed and unprotected marchers. The fire department was called in to help suppress the fire of freedom. The force of water from their hoses was like a battering ram. Even from a distance, people were knocked off their feet by the powerful blasts. This kind of response to the peaceful black struggle for equal rights was not new, but now the confrontations were broadcast across the nation on television. America saw firsthand that the demonstrators remained nonviolent, while the police were unrestrained in their use of life-threatening force. Never before was Dr. King's philosophy of nonviolence more effective, as millions of Americans began to realize that the blacks were being victimized by the laws of the land, rather than being protected by the law. Like other Americans, President Kennedy watched on television the familiar spectacle of police violence against Dr. King and his followers. For the upper-class president from New England, it was a shocking education in the realities of life for black America. During the 11 days King spent in prison, he wrote and smuggled out the famous letter from a Birmingham jail, in which he reiterated his philosophy of nonviolent civil disobedience. For years now, we've heard the word wait. It rings in the ear of every Negro with piercing familiarity. This wait has almost always meant never. We must come to see that justice too long delayed is justice denied. Perhaps it is easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say wait. But when you have seen vicious mobs lynch your mothers and fathers at will, when you've seen the vast majority of your 20 million Negro brothers smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society, when you are forever fighting a degenerating sense of nobodiness, then you will understand why we find it difficult to wait. On May 2nd, 1963, a large group of black children joined the Birmingham protests. After a speech by King, they moved toward downtown. Again, the police began making arrests. The same buses that transported the children to segregated schools were now being used to haul them to segregated prisons. Before the day was over, almost 1,000 children were in jail. A day later, another 1,000 children joined the march. This time, the authorities resorted to violence. The marchers were blasted with fire hoses, beaten with clubs, attacked by police dogs, and gassed. At last, on May 10th, 1963, under pressure from the federal government and from outraged world opinion, the leaders of Birmingham accepted the demands of the Freedom Marchers. There was little time for celebration, however. That night, both King's motel room and his brother's home were bombed. Having witnessed the abuse of power by Alabama authorities to the humiliating images of American violence and injustice being spread throughout the world, President Kennedy had seen enough.
I work hard all day, and this is why. But taking care of my money has never been easy. Brinks knows what's valuable to me, making it easy to keep track of my money and pay my bills on time.
Here's to the strong, to the dependable, to the trusted. Your family counts on you. Who can you count on? The Brinks Money Prepaid MasterCard. With direct deposit, you can get your paycheck or government payments up to 2 days faster.
I don't have time to wait for a paycheck, cash it, and then run around and pay bills. Brinks knows what's valuable to me. Time.
Call now or go online to get your Brinks Money Prepaid MasterCard. There's no cost to order and no credit check. Load money onto your card and then shop online, pay bills, buy groceries.
I get a text alert every time our card is used, so we always know our balance.
And with Brinks, get the peace of mind you deserve with MasterCard Zero Liability Protection. With Brinks, You can conveniently manage your money online and with the mobile app.
I get cash back on everyday purchases. Brinks knows what's valuable to me. Saving money.
Call now or go online to get your Brinks Money prepaid MasterCard. There's no credit check and no cost to order. And with a qualifying direct deposit, we'll upgrade you to Brinks Preferred with extra benefits, including a savings account with up to a 5% annual percentage yield. And in this TV-only offer, personalize your Brinks Money prepaid MasterCard with your photo for added security. Get paid faster with the Brinks Money prepaid MasterCard when you enroll in direct deposit. Manage your money on the go, wherever you are, and get the peace of mind you deserve. Brinks knows what's valuable to you. Call right now to order your Brinks Money prepaid MasterCard.
Call 1-800-559-0173.
There's no cost to order. Call now.
There has never been a better time to join AARP. This special offer gives you exclusive access to hundreds of AARP discounts, programs, and services that will add real value to your life. As a member, you can get discounts on glasses and eye exams, save on prescription drugs not covered by Medicare. But you can also save on travel, hotels, online movie tickets, restaurants, concert tickets, and so much more.
I didn't know that.
AARP helps members access exclusive benefits like Medicare supplement insurance, even auto insurance.
We can use that.
AARP offers financial tips, career resources, and tools that may help you avoid identity theft and scammers.
That's good to know.
Pick up the phone now to join AARP. 1 year for just $12. That's 25% off the regular membership price. You'll even get a second membership included free. And you'll receive AARP the magazine filled with information and articles important to you. Plus, you'll get hundreds of benefits and an additional free gift if you call now.
And you don't have to be retired to join AARP. You can join at 50 for instant access to many member benefits. For 60 years, AARP has fought to protect your Social Security, Medicare, and more.
That sounds good to me.
Now you know how AARP helps people like us take on today. So don't miss your chance to join now.
Call or go online now to take advantage of this special offer. 1 year for just $12. That's a savings of 25% off the regular membership price. And you'll get a second AARP membership for anyone in your home free. And get a full year subscription to AARP the magazine filled with information and articles important to you. Plus, you get the AARP mobile app that connects you to local events and activities near you. And as a free gift, we'll include this insulated trunk organizer. So don't miss this chance to save 25% and get 1 year for just $12.
Call 800-824-8931.
Good evening. I'm Drew Brees, former NFL quarterback, and I want to welcome you to tonight's bedtime Bible story about the birth of Jesus. We'll be going on a journey together, stretching back a couple thousand years, weaving our way through the Judean countryside with its mighty river, dense forests, and hilly terrain. Listen to my bedtime Bible story about the birth of Jesus and download the Pray.com app today.
The events in Birmingham and elsewhere have so increased the cries for equality that no city or state or legislative body can prudently choose to ignore them.
Kennedy agreed to push landmark civil rights legislation through Congress.
We face, therefore, a moral crisis as a country and a people. It is a time to act in the Congress, in your state and local legislative body, and above all, in all of our daily lives. It is not enough to pin the blame on others, to say this is a problem of one section of the country or another, or to pour the facts that we face. A great change is at hand. And our task, our obligation, is to make that revolution, that change, peaceful and constructive for all. Those who do nothing are inviting shame as well as violence. Those who act boldly are recognizing right as well as reality. Next week, I shall ask the Congress of the United States to act, to make a commitment it has not fully made in this century to the proposition that race has no place in American life or law.
In June, Dr. King and civil rights leaders met with the president to announce plans for a march on Washington in support of the Civil Rights Act. President Kennedy thought such a move would be disastrous for the cause, but the leaders knew the march would draw hundreds of thousands of people. The historic March on Washington took place in August 1963. As King and the others predicted, enormous numbers, black and white, gathered to show the time had come to end the discriminatory treatment of black Americans.
As we struggle, we do not struggle alone. It's dark sometimes. It's difficult, particularly for those who are struggling in the Deep South, facing all of the violence and all of the suffering. That is something that consoles us along the way. We are convinced that our cause is right. I return to Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, not in despair, not in bitterness. I return knowing that we are moving into a bright day of freedom.
Victory or defeat.
We, through our struggle, through our suffering, through our sacrifice, will be able to achieve the American dream. And this will be the day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
The day was a landmark in American history, and the high point was a speech by Dr. King that stands as one of the most important, beautiful, eloquent, and stirring orations in the English language. King's words made many Americans feel free for the first time in their lives. It was indeed the most important civil rights demonstration in history, with millions around the country and around the world sharing its spirit through television coverage. The momentum for the Civil Rights Act could not be stopped, even though white terrorists would try many more times. In September, less than a month after the march, a black church was bombed in Birmingham during Sunday services. 4 young girls were killed. As always, King deplored the violence, but he urged his followers not to stoop to violence themselves. As Dr. King had written in 1958, the old law of an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind. Freedom marchers and civil rights advocates were not the only ones to experience violence in a nation that felt like it was inspired with hope, but in danger of being torn apart by hatred. As President Kennedy at last committed himself to passage of the Civil Rights Act, his popularity dropped dramatically. President and Mrs. Kennedy arrived by plane in Dallas. They began a motorcade in open limousines into the heart of the city. And there in Dallas, John F. Kennedy was shot and killed. The nation and the world were in shock. A sense of betrayal permeated much of America. Dreams were shattered. The first president in a century to hear the demands of black America and respond with a message of hope had died just as Lincoln had died almost 100 years earlier. For the millions of Americans, black and white, who had seen Kennedy as their champion in the fight for justice, the future was suddenly obscured in a rain of tears. Martin Luther King said in mourning President Kennedy, "We mourn a man who had become the pride of the nation, but we also mourn for ourselves, for we know now that we are sick."